Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another lecture. In today's lecture, we're going to recap what we have done in the previous lecture because it was super long and it was packed with information. Now, I create Dom lecture 2.js. You should create that and link that in your index.html. Now, in the index.html, also put ID here, title ID. We're going to use this one a little bit later. So, from the previous lecture, you know that we can grab, I'm just going to show you. So get elements by tag name, get element by class name, and query selector all returns multiple instances of the element. So if we have like 2h2, it will return 2 of this h2. So it will not stop on the first one. So they're called multi-selectors, right? But on the other hand, get element by ID, it's a singular, it will return a single element. Also, it will return a single element, this query selector. So it will return the first element it will find. For example, we're searching for a span. And this is the first span that it will find in a document because it starts from the top and it will go here. It will get this element. It will not continue with the other one. On the other hand, the multiple elements like this get elements by class name or selector all, it will go through this, it will find a span, it will say, okay, yeah, I found the span. Let's check if there are more spans in the document. That's it. That's how they work. Very good. So now you know the difference. Then how we can get properties of the elements. Let's do this. We already discussed about this. The elements, very good. Now, in a variable, I'm going to store the heading. So I'm going to say variable title. You can name anything you want. And I say document.query selector. So I'm going to use the first one because it's going to select only a single element, h2. And I have only one h2 at the moment. The other one is commented out. It will not be shown, right? So it will select the first one. So what we can do now, console.log, and let's grab the class name. I want just this class name. So we already used the class name from the previous lecture, but let's do it again. So I say here class plus title dot class, not list, name. Very good. Here it is, class title. Make a breathing space here. Now, if you want to have the ID here, you can say title.id because we already had ID here. I put it that one before when we finish the class, but you can put that one ID here just for practicing. Okay, now we also learned that we can apply directly styles here without using the styles.css, but that was not my goal. But for some reason, I just want to show you that we can put more things there, right? Not just the background color, okay? And we're not gonna do this in future, but let's do it here just for practicing. So apply styles, and on this title I want to change the background color. So title style.property, that was the definition, style.background color. And let's put this background color orange, make sure it's in quotes, red, very good. So it turns out that here our heading now is having background orange red. But we can apply a padding here, we can apply a color to this text, and we can do all sorts of things. So let's do this, title.style.padding, and let's apply padding 10 pixels in 20 pixels. So this will apply padding top left, right. You will apply padding everywhere. Now I'm just gonna copy this one. And the last thing that I want to show you, we can change the color of this text. For example, by saying, okay, I want that to be black. So you can use hexadecimal, whatever values you want. So I will say just black like this. Boom, it will work. That's it. Now, I told you that we can use inner HTML and inner text, but I'm gonna go over them again. Modify the content. Very good. So here what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna modify the title dot text content. This is what I haven't shown you, and I will say wow. Very good. So I modify the text content using the text content. Now I can do the same thing with the inner text. And I will say wow1. Nice. I can do the same thing with title.inner. Not the same thing. I can add an HTML, right? Let's do an italic. I stands for italic. Let's close this one, right? So we open the I tag, we close the I tag, and let's say, wow, this is awesome. Exclamation mark, make sure that you don't need this. There you go. Now the text is in italic. Now this H2 element is in italic. So now you know how to modify the content. Very good. And if you go like this, inspect, you will see that, oh, what we have here, style, background color, orange, red, padding, nice. But what we don't want is actually to have it like this. We want to have a separation of concerns, and this to be HTML to be only for the HTML markup, the CSS to be for the styles, and our JavaScript files for the functionality. Okay, now let's get the first, let me just close this one, inspect, go here, oops, not resources, sorry, console. Now what I want here is to get the last element from this ally list, and the last element is make your girlfriend happy. Nice. That's a hard job, right? So make your girlfriend or boyfriend happy. I should put it here /boyfriend, right? Now, how are we gonna get the last element? Well, not that easy, because, for example, I want to get the document dot query selector, and I want to target the li. With the query selector, the beauty was we can target also the class by the class name, right? So let's just console log this one and see what's happening here. Log. Oops. Save it. And I do have the last one. Here it is. Actually, the first one, not the last one. Right? Go to work/school. But what if I want to do from this list, I want to get the last one? Is that possible? Well, it is. So what we can do, we can say, okay, give me the nth child, or just the last child. I'm just going to start with the last child. And that's it. Now, what is happening? Very good. Now I have the last element. So I can use the last child here, and that will get me the last element. Okay, now we can add a class here just to make this a little bit more interesting. So class list, how we are adding class names, class list, and we already have created, sorry, .add, and we already have created. So if you go back in your CSS, we have this list classes for our list elements. Let's add that class, save it, and something is going on. So here, typer cannot read property, class list of undefined. Very good. So this is telling us I do have a problem. The last child, I'm trying to access it here, it's not working. So because this part shouldn't be outside on the console.log, but should be inside. Now you learn from my mistakes, and you're never gonna do them. And there you go. Make your girlfriend happy. Change that one. Make your girlfriend /boyfriend happy. Nice. That looks better. So now you know how to grab the last element, and plus you can apply the class name, right? That was from the previous lecture. So we used the class list. The class list had access to add, remove, and toggle. Very good. Now, what if I want to access the first element here, but without using only the query selector? Because when I use the query selector, I know that it will give me the first one, but there's one other way. So we, instead of using the like this, we can say nth child. And we can specify here what child we want. So if I do it like this, now go to work/school will be modified because we also added that class. How cool is this? Now I can get all of the childs. For example, if I want to get the third one, and this nth child is CSS pseudo class matches element based on their position in their group of siblings. Very good. This is a CSS. So if you have done CSS, then yeah, you will probably know this. Let me just grab the third one and let's see what will happen. So here it is, the first, third, and the last one. Very good. Now you know how to grab any child based on its what? Saying here, position in the group of siblings. So you can find this one on developer.mozilla.org. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a pseudo class. Very good. Now we can also use odd and even. So what I'm gonna do now, first, I'm going to remove this from the first child. Oops. And from the third child. I want everything to be back to normal, except for the last one where we select this one. So basically what we did, we just removed the styles we just applied here. Good. Now you know how to remove styles using the class list selector. Okay. Now odd, we can use odd and even. So odd, it will give me number 1, number 3, number 5, and so on. And even will give me 2, 4, 6 from this element list. Okay, so how we can do this? I'm gonna paste this one back here, and I will say nth child, and I will just say here odd. But because I have removed, I need to replace this with add. Now look what will happen now. So the odd will give me the first one. Very good. And because this is a single query selector, otherwise it will give me the third one and so forth. So it will give me the option to style the third one, the fifth one, but we will do that a little bit later. You don't have to worry about that one. Now the even should give me the second one. Save it. And here it is. It's already been changed, but so let me just remove to see the difference. Pay attention here. Very good. Now add. There you go. But because this is like this, we have a separate style for this marked here. That's why it's like that. So close, hover, close, checked. So we have this checked here, background. So we can change the background if you want. You can change it to red. If you want, save it. It will be like that. Nice. Actually, that looks maybe better, but I'm just going to return back to normal. Very good. Okay, what's next? Now, remember last time when I told you, when I was showing to you actually, I'm just going to comment all of this now. Very good. So I've talked a little bit about the HTML collection. Well, when we get, for example, elements by a name, by the class name, it returns us here a collection, HTML collection. So let's create that one back, elements. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to say document.get elements by, not tag name. It will work, same by, but I'm just going to use by class name. And I will put here element. Now I'm targeting this class, ladies and gentlemen. This element from li, but I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plus this one here, plus the footer. Okay, so if I console log elements, it will give me the HTML collection. We have 7 elements inside that collection. Okay, but how we can loop through them? Well, for that we can use arrays on HTML collection. Very good. But the thing here is a little bit more complex than the node list. So we're going to talk about node list a little bit later. But now what we want to do is first to convert these into an array. So how are we gonna do this? So convert the HTML collection into array, and we can use the array method. So var element array, so elements array, and we can use array dot from. So we can use this method, and that whatever we pass in here, it will convert back to array. So how will I know it's an array now? If you console log back this elements array, here it is. Now it's not HTML collection anymore. We do have their indexes. Very good. So I can loop through this using the for each loop. So for each, there you go. Now it requires the first parameter was the array. Here you can put a function, or we can leave it like this. Now let's console.log the element only. So what this will do will give us each and every element, here it is, from the list. Now you know how you can loop through them, right? This is super cool. We can change them. We can append text. We can give them, right? What we can say text content to great. Save it. See, all of the elements will have now great. That is pretty much cool what we can do with this. But I'm just gonna print out the elements. I'm just gonna leave them as it is. Now that was super cool. But how does the arrays and node list can work together? Well, this is very easy with the node list. And who's giving us the node list? Well, query selector all. So I'm just gonna say here arrays on node list. And why I say this is easier in node list? Well, we don't have to convert it to an array. So var span elements. So I'm gonna target the span elements at the moment. This span here, right? So what I'm gonna say, span elements equal to document dot query selector all, and I'm going to select based by their class name closed, because we have a multiple span elements here. We have span elements for this, but they have different class. Even, yeah, we have different class in here. We have close, here we have add button. So this will not be added into our query list. Very good. So let's just see what is inside. Span elements. So I have the node list, but the beauty of the node list is that we don't have to convert it back to an array. So we can apply the for each or any for loop. So you can do the for loop, the normal for loop, and that will be just for you as a challenge. Please make sure that you do this one with the for loop, and yeah, this one, the next one. So span elements dot for each. Let me just type it like this, for each, and put it here, span element, and then I do have elements inside, and console.log the element, or let's put the current here only, because we have element here. I don't want to confuse you. Put a current here, and there you go. Now we have access to all of these spans. Now when I hover this, look what is happening. I do get selected this X. Okay, so what we can do, we can say the current element, I want to add text content, and I want to replace this X with, for example, hash. Now can you see the beauty of it? Every element now, every span has hash symbol. So for example, if you need something in the list and if you want to change it everywhere, then you can do with one loop. You can select every element and loop that one and apply all of those changes. You can put your own logic here, but this is how the things can be done, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you very much. Now you know how to use arrays on the HTML collection and arrays on node list, which is pretty much similar, right? You know how to use the last child, nth child, and odd, even. Yeah, all of these things were covered in the previous, and that is pretty much it for this lecture. I hope you enjoyed this one because it was super fun for me. And yeah, I will see you in the next one.